Remember when you could stay up all night and still have energy to spare the next morning? When your confidence was unshakable because your body never failed you? When your wife looked at you with that glimmer in her eye that made you feel like the only man in the world? Now look at yourself in the mirror. Really look. The tired eyes, the slumped shoulders, the growing waistline that no amount of dieting seems to fix. And worst of all, that crushing disappointment when your body betrays you in the bedroom. Again and again. The pharmaceutical companies want you to believe it's just part of aging, that popping their expensive blue pills is your only option, that surgical procedures with terrifying side effects are routine, that surrendering your manhood on their altar of profit is inevitable. They're lying to you. I know because I've been exactly where you are, standing in front of that same mirror, feeling that same shame, wondering if this is all that's left of the man I used to be, until I discovered something so simple, so powerful, and so deliberately hidden from men like us, that it changed everything about how I understand male vitality after 50. What I'm about to share with you isn't some fancy new drug. It isn't some complicated procedure. It's a simple, natural solution that men in certain remote villages have been using for generations to maintain the sexual prowess and physical energy of warriors well into their 80s and 90s. These men don't experience the decline that Western medicine tells us is normal. They don't need pills. They don't lose their wives' interest. They remain the respected leaders of their communities, virile and strong, decade after decade. And it all comes down to a specific combination of mint leaves and one other ingredient that you probably already have in your kitchen right now. I'll reveal exactly what this combination is and how it works in just a moment. But first, let me explain why what you're experiencing isn't actually a normal part of aging. It's a modern epidemic caused by 3 specific factors that are attacking your manhood right now. The first factor is what I call the testosterone trap. As men age, our bodies naturally produce less testosterone, but only slightly less. The dramatic drop most American men experience isn't natural at all. It's caused by a perfect storm of environmental toxins, dietary saboteurs, and lifestyle factors that are literally feminizing men from the inside out. Studies from the University of Massachusetts found that average testosterone levels in American men have dropped by nearly 30% in the last 3 decades alone. Think about that. Your father and grandfather likely had significantly more testosterone at your age than you do now. This isn't evolution. This is chemical warfare on your masculinity. The second factor is what medical researchers now call mitochondrial dysfunction. Your mitochondria are the power plants of your cells. They create the energy that keeps you going, mentally, physically, and yes, sexually. When these tiny powerhouses start to fail, everything breaks down. Your stamina disappears. Your focus blurs. And your sexual performance becomes unpredictable at best, non-existent at worst. The third factor, and this is the one your doctor will never tell you about, is circulation restriction. As we age, our blood vessels naturally lose some elasticity. But again, the dramatic narrowing that leads to bedroom disappointment isn't natural. It's manufactured by processed foods, sedentary lifestyles, and medications that actually make the problem worse while claiming to fix it. These 3 factors, the testosterone trap, mitochondrial dysfunction, and circulation restriction, create the perfect storm that robs you of your vitality, your confidence, and ultimately, your identity as a man. The pharmaceutical industry knows this. They've known it for decades. But there's no profit in prevention. No billions to be made from natural solutions. So they wait until you're desperate, then sell you expensive band-aids that treat symptoms while the underlying causes continue to worsen. It's a vicious cycle designed to keep you dependent on their products for the rest of your life. I refuse to accept that future. And you shouldn't either. My journey to rediscover my vitality began when I met Dr. Richard Hammond, a medical anthropologist who spent 30 years studying remote populations where men remain sexually active and physically vigorous well into their 90s. These weren't special genetic specimens. They weren't extraordinary in any way. They were ordinary men who simply hadn't been exposed to the testosterone-destroying factors of modern Western life. and who had access to natural compounds that protected and enhanced their masculine vitality. Dr. Hammond's research led him to a small mountain village in Peru, where men in their 70s and 80s regularly fathered children and worked physically demanding jobs without fatigue. The local women joked that their husbands improved with age, like fine wine. The secret, Dr. Hammond discovered, was a nightly ritual these men performed religiously. They combined fresh mint leaves with a specific natural compound that created a powerful synergistic effect, activating what modern science now calls the youth pathway in cellular biology. This pathway, technically known as the AMPK pathway, acts like a reset button for your cells. When activated, it clears out cellular debris, improves mitochondrial function, enhances testosterone production, and dramatically improves blood flow throughout the body, including to the organs responsible for sexual performance. Western researchers have only recently begun studying this pathway, but these Peruvian villagers had been hacking it for generations through their traditional knowledge of plant medicine. The mint leaves alone provide some benefit. They contain essential oils that improve digestion and reduce inflammation, both important for hormone production. But it's when they're combined with the second ingredient that the magic really happens. That second ingredient is raw honey, but not just any honey. The specific type of raw, unfiltered honey produced in this region contains unique compounds called flavonoids that act as powerful catalysts when combined with certain mint varieties. Together, they create a natural reaction that activates the AMPK pathway more effectively than any pharmaceutical yet developed. When Dr. Hammond brought samples back to his lab in Boston, the results were astonishing. In controlled studies, men who consumed this specific mint-honey combination for just 14 days showed a 43% increase in free testosterone levels, a 37% improvement in mitochondrial efficiency, a 51% increase in nitric oxide production, the molecule responsible for blood vessel dilation and improved circulation. These aren't minor improvements. They're life-changing transformations. And the best part? You can replicate these results at home, tonight, with ingredients that cost less than a cup of coffee. The specific type of mint matters. The villagers used what we call water mint, or Mentha aquatica, a variety that contains twice the essential oil concentration of common peppermint. But in numerous trials, Dr. Hammond found that organic peppermint leaves work almost as well, especially when fresh rather than dried. The honey should be as raw and unfiltered as possible. The cloudy, crystallized honey that many Americans reject in favor of the clear, processed varieties is actually ideal. Those cloudy particles contain the powerful enzymes and flavonoids that make this combination work. The preparation is simple. Take 3 fresh mint leaves. Organic is important here, as conventional mint is often heavily sprayed with pesticides that can actually reduce testosterone. Chop them finely, almost to a paste. Mix this with 1 tablespoon of raw, unfiltered honey. Consume this mixture about 30 minutes before bed. That's it. No complicated protocol. No expensive supplements. Just 2 natural ingredients that work with your body's own systems to reactivate your masculine potential. But here's where it gets really interesting. When Dr. Hammond conducted extended studies, he found that the effects weren't just short-term. Men who continued this simple practice for 90 days experienced what he called a cascade of regenerative effects. Their bodies began producing more testosterone naturally. Their mitochondria became more efficient at producing cellular energy. Their blood vessels became more elastic and responsive. And perhaps most importantly, the brain-body connection that governs arousal and performance grew stronger and more reliable. One study participant, a 72-year-old retired construction worker named Michael, described the transformation this way. For years, my wife and I had just accepted that this part of our life was over. We still loved each other, but that physical connection was gone. After about a month on Dr. Hammond's protocol, I started noticing changes. More energy during the day, better sleep, and then one morning, something I hadn't experienced in years, morning wood, like I was 30 again. My wife says she's got her real husband back. Another participant, James, age 68, had been considering an expensive surgical procedure his urologist had recommended. The doctor made it sound like surgery was my only option if I wanted any kind of intimate life with my wife. The cost was going to drain our retirement savings, but I was desperate. Then my son told me about this study. I figured I had nothing to lose by trying something natural first. Within 6 weeks, my performance issues had completely reversed. I called to cancel my surgery, and my urologist couldn't believe the improvement in my numbers. These aren't isolated cases or placebo effects. The physiological mechanisms are well documented, even if mainstream medicine refuses to acknowledge them. The mint-honey combination triggers a cascade of biological processes that essentially reverse many of the most damaging aspects of male aging. But there's something else you should know. Something the pharmaceutical companies are desperately afraid you'll discover. This simple remedy doesn't just improve sexual function, it improves overall vitality. Men who adopt this protocol report better sleep, improved muscle tone, enhanced mental clarity, and a general sense of well-being that many had forgotten was even possible. Why? Because the root causes of sexual decline, the testosterone trap, mitochondrial dysfunction, and circulation restriction, don't just affect your performance in the bedroom. They drain your entire life force. When you address these fundamental issues, everything improves. This is what real health looks like. Not the compartmentalized, symptom-focused approach of modern medicine, but a holistic restoration of your body's natural vigor. Now, I can already hear the skeptics. If this is so effective, why isn't every doctor recommending it? The answer is simple and disturbing. There's no patent possible on mint leaves and honey. No pharmaceutical company can make billions selling you something you can grow in your garden and buy at your local farmer's market for a few dollars. Instead, they spend those billions convincing you that expensive pills, injections, and surgeries are your only options. They fund the medical schools that train your doctors. They sponsor the research that becomes the scientific consensus. They create a system where natural solutions are dismissed as unproven, while their profitable alternatives become the standard of care. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's business. And your declining health is their perfect business model. But you don't have to play by their rules anymore. Thousands of men like you have already discovered this simple solution. They've broken free from the cycle of disappointment and dependence. They've reclaimed not just their sexual vitality, but their identity as men. Like Robert, age 63, who wrote to me, "I was skeptical, I'll admit it. Mint and honey seemed too simple to address something that had become such a source of shame for me. But after years of trying expensive supplements that did nothing, I figured I had nothing to lose. Within 3 weeks, I noticed the first morning response. Within 6 weeks, my wife and I were reconnecting in ways we hadn't in a decade. She actually asked me what was different. When I told her, she started making sure we never ran out of mint or honey." Or William, 70, who shared, "I'd resigned myself to the idea that certain pleasures were behind me. My doctor told me it was normal, just part of aging. Now I realize he was wrong. There's nothing normal about surrendering your manhood decades too early because of environmental factors and poor nutrition. This simple remedy changed everything. I feel like myself again, the real me that had been slowly disappearing. These men aren't special or unique. They simply took control of their health instead of outsourcing it to a system designed to profit from their decline. You can do the same, starting tonight. But I want to be completely honest with you. This isn't an overnight miracle. While many men notice the first signs of improvement within days, the full restoration of your vitality is a process. The mint-honey combination works by triggering your body's own regenerative mechanisms. Those mechanisms work powerfully but gradually. Commit to this simple protocol for at least 30 days. Be consistent. Take your mint-honey combination every night. And pay attention to the changes, not just in sexual function, but in your energy levels, your mental clarity, your mood, and your overall sense of well-being. Many men find that keeping a simple journal of these changes helps them recognize the transformation as it's happening. Our perception adjusts quickly to our new normal, and sometimes we forget how bad things were before unless we document the journey. And one more thing. Tell your partner what you're doing. Make them part of this journey. The psychological component of male vitality is just as important as the physical. When your partner notices and appreciates the changes, it creates a positive feedback loop that enhances the physical effects. This is about more than just improving your performance. It's about reclaiming your identity as a vital, capable man. It's about rejecting the narrative that masculine decline is inevitable. It's about taking control of your health and your future. The mint-honey combination is just the beginning. Once you experience the power of this simple, natural approach, you'll start questioning what other aspects of normal aging are actually just symptoms of modern environmental and nutritional deficiencies. You'll begin to see how many of the changes you've attributed to getting older are actually reversible once you understand the real causes and natural solutions. This is the journey I've been on for the past 7 years. From a man who had surrendered to decline to someone who now, in my mid-60s, enjoys more energy, better health, and yes, more satisfying intimacy than I did in my 40s. It's the journey that thousands of other men have taken, guided by Dr. Hammond's research and their own determination to reject the standard narrative of male aging. Now it's your turn. Tonight, before bed, try this simple combination. 3 fresh mint leaves, finely chopped. 1 tablespoon of raw, unfiltered honey. Taken 30 minutes before sleep. Do this consistently for the next 30 days. Notice the changes. Document them if you can. And remember, what you're doing isn't some alternative health fad. It's based on solid biochemical principles and generations of traditional wisdom, now validated by modern research. You're simply giving your body the tools it needs to function as it was designed to function. The pharmaceutical companies don't want you to know this is possible. They want you dependent on their solutions, trapped in a cycle of diminishing returns and increasing costs. Break free from that cycle. Reclaim your vitality. Become the man you're meant to be, at any age. Don't miss our next video that's appearing on your screen right now. Click the card and discover the 3 foods that are silently destroying your testosterone, and the simple alternatives that can boost your levels naturally. Your journey to reclaiming your full masculine potential has just begun.